for this.
Yeah, exactly. All right, ready then?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Hey, everybody.
Getting back together, we cover that.
Yes, exactly. Thanksgiving special. Here it is. Something, let's say, short and sweet for you as you head into this day where you will likely consume more calories than you consume on any other day of the year.
Unless you're me.
Unless you're Greg, I guess, whatever that means. Greg just consumes them all the time. Is that what you were inferring?
That's all I eat are calories.
Ah, well, I mean, I think that's all anybody eats. Technically.
I dip them in MSG.
So, welcome everybody to the Thanksgiving special, Gobble Gobble. We'll be back with regular contest episodes next week. But we're just recording this little thing for you guys. We wanted to take a kind of a week chiller, spend it with our families. Chiller, see what I did there? So we're just doing this little thing on the fly. If you're listening to it Wednesday night, you're going to be listening to it probably about an hour after we recorded it. So this one was... This one's
10:02 p.m. on the West Coast.
Right. We didn't want to not give you an episode this week, but we also didn't want to put all the work into putting an episode together. So here it is. We wanted to spend some time with our families, and this made sense on a Wednesday night. So, Greg, what are you thankful for this Thanksgiving?
I'm thankful for a platform to speak my piece.
Shut up.
No,
I'm just kidding.
no, that's fine.
No, come on, finish up. What are you thankful for?
A platform to speak my piece. People that are happy and willing to listen, and I don't know, man.
How about
X-Files, yes.
just your theme in general, really?
And sweet Satan.
Sweet, sweet Satan, indeed. That's what I'm thankful for. And most of the things you said, you took the words right out of my mouth. Thank you guys for making this what it is for us. We'll keep doing what we're doing. And you keep doing what you're doing. You know what I'm saying?
But tell other people. Make sure that's one of the things that you're doing.
Spread the serial killer, serial chiller, mass murderer cheer this holiday season.
Yeah. Tell your family. Remember, like, when they start getting weird, just be like, hey, remember, I know how to get away with it now.
Also, I mean, tomorrow's a good opportunity. If you're listening to this on Wednesday or early Thursday, you're going to be sitting around the table with family. Just remind them.
Knife in your hand.
Yeah. Just remind them how interested you are in serial killers and the macabre.
You make sure you refer to it as the turkey corpse, not the carcass.
So, Greg, I know we are both going to tell a little story tonight, but your story about your story.
I hit a hiccup. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do something that is topical and relevant, and it's going to fit with the holiday. And I researched this guy that killed these two teenagers when they broke into his house on Thanksgiving. And I was like, yeah, he was like waiting for him and stuff. And I had this whole story, and it was awesome. And I was stoked to tell it. And as I'm researching it and everything, I'm like, this seems really familiar. And it's definitely been on the show, but I think I even told it a while ago.
You did tell it. We actually had audio clips from it. We had his surveillance system when he's like standing over her. So get his name so people can look it up. But we did it early on. I would say within the first 10 episodes. That was one of the side stories. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting story. Long story short, these two kids break into a guy's house who is waiting for them because he's had multiple break-ins.
Byron David Smith.
That's right, Byron Smith. And he murdered them. They were in his house. They did break into his house, but he essentially set it up to where they would be.
Castle Doctrine.
Yes, exactly. He tried to use that as his defense, which, if I'm not mistaken, didn't work. So, Greg, don't feel bad. There have been many times where I have selected even a killer and realized that I've also done them before. So It happens, man. We don't remember everything we've done on the show. If
sorry.
we did, we'd be dead. What was that? Sorry, I talked
I
right
want
over
to
you.
say I'm sorry to the people who were hoping that I was going to bring the fucking heat this time, and I let them down. I couldn't handle the heat, so I must stay out of the kitchen. It's a Thanksgiving joke. It all ties together.
And I'll cook tonight. So I actually have a couple little mini stories, and then I have a kind of a, let's call it a headliner. So these, I think you and I had similar thoughts in mind because I have all crimes that were committed on Thanksgiving Day.
Excellent.
So this one is from 2014. An Oklahoma man. I'm going to read you the news stories from these ones. So this one says an Oklahoma man was accidentally shot and killed during a family Thanksgiving gathering. Investigators said that 30-year-old Robert Brown was fatally wounded by a single gunshot about 2 p.m. Thursday as his family celebrated the holiday at a Claremont home. Another person in the home shot Brown, but police said the shooting appeared to be accidental. They are not yet sure what led to the shooting or whether the alleged shooter was related to Brown. Quote, "We are dealing with a lot of family members," end quote, said Captain Melbourne Luttrell of Claremore Police. Quote, "It's a terrible day. Police will turn over their investigation once it's complete to prosecutors who will determine whether any charges will be filed." No charges were filed, from what I understand. That story is from rawstory.com.
I think I saw that story and was like, "Oh, really?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this one also 2014. This one is in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. I probably pronounced it wrong. Bring it. Police say a Pennsylvania woman chased her boyfriend around a dining room and stabbed him in the chest because he started eating Thanksgiving dinner while she slept off a bender. Authorities say Jacqueline Blake confessed to officers who responded to her Wilkes-Barre home Thursday. Officers found her boyfriend inside holding a towel over his chest. He was hospitalized with non-life-threatening injuries. The 47-year-old Blake is charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, simple assault, reckless endangerment, and making terroristic threats. It wasn't clear if she has a lawyer. According to police, Blake's boyfriend said she'd been drunk earlier in the day and attacked him after waking up from a nap and find him eating Thanksgiving dinner. He says she stabbed him and threw the knife and it struck him just below the left eye. Yeah, so that article comes from New York Daily News. That one's pretty...
That's pretty heavy. She sounds like she went pretty hard in the paint there. Although I gotta wonder if she threw the knife and it hit him just below the eye. Did it say which end of the knife hit him?
It was the handle. It was the handle.
Yeah, I was gonna say it had to be. Otherwise, he'd have a knife in his face. But I think the electric carving knife is a little better. You're just limited on mobility. You got to corner them. You can't. It can't be like a chase them around type thing unless you got an extension cord.
It's a plug-in electric knife.
Yeah. What do you think I am? Fucking Jim Rockefeller?
I got lithium ion here or something?
Well, Christ, it's only 1992.
So this one's from 2012. Police were called to a Port Matilda home after a disagreement over a game of Trivial Pursuit led one player to threaten another with a hatchet.
Okay, so I will say this. My family, every time they get together, there is some amount of Trivial Pursuit playing. And if there's not, there's threats of Trivial Pursuit and a lot of shit talk.
Okay.
And I can absolutely see that.
So you could see someone pulling a hatchet and chasing someone around with it.
I don't see somebody pulling a hatchet, but I see, I've definitely seen people get up and walk away from the table and be like, "I'm done. This game's stupid and you all fucking suck."
So that person that night realized that they were dumb and was mad at the world?
Yes, I did.
So state police from Phillipsburg said a verbal argument over an answer to one of the board game's questions turned physical.
The Moors. It says the Moops.
The incident happened Thanksgiving night at a home on South High Street, but was reported by police today. When troopers arrived at the home, they seized the hatchet from the suspect and discovered that it was actually a piece of drug paraphernalia.
Oh, it was just a broken bong.
No. It was a glass water pipe that was shaped like a hatchet.
That is neat.
Yes. We are the same height. That is neat. So, yeah, that was pretty much all there was to it. It says charges are pending in the case. It was a 2012 article. I did look into it because how serious are those charges really going to be in the end? He was chasing me around with a water pipe.
I mean, if you broke it, it could have some sharp edges.
That's true. Yeah, I didn't look any further into it. I just thought it was funny. I also thought that it was funny that it was a marijuana water pipe and the home was on South High Street.
Yes.
So here's the serious one. It's kind of heavy. I pulled this together from several news articles about the situation. This one's from way back in 2009, but this one would actually reach national headlines. Yeah, this one's Jupiter, Florida. Paul Michael, and okay, let me just ask you right now. His last name is spelled Merhige. Merhige is how I've been seeing it.
Merhige. I'm a visual learner.
Yeah.
Marriage.
All right, so I'll go with marriage. Paul Michael Marriage sat through 3 hours of Thanksgiving dinner and sing-alongs around the piano, plotting the moment he would fatally shoot 4 relatives. His cousin.
It's 3 hours of 3 hours with your family. Justified.
After opening fire, Marriage was heard saying that he had waited 20 years to kill them, according to the host of the dinner that turned deadly. There were no arguments, warnings, or red flags before the rampage, said Marriage's cousin-in-law, Jim Sitton, whose 6-year-old daughter was killed in the fire. Marriage also shot his 79-year-old aunt to death and killed his twin sisters, one of whom was pregnant. Quote, he had said this whole thing was pre-planned. His goal was to shoot his sisters and punish his parents, Sitton said. It's not clear exactly who was shot when, but the bloodbath could have been worse with the 16 family members present. Sitton and Marriage, who is 35, also pointed... Sitton said Marriage, who is 35, also pointed the gun at Marriage's uncle, but it twice wouldn't fire. At one point, according to Sitton, Marriage, quote, turned and started to walk away and said, I have been waiting 20 years to do this. Authorities were still searching for Marriage, who wasn't seen since the shooting. So he goes missing for a while. At Sitton's home in an upscale gated community in Jupiter, a beach town some 55 miles from Miami, a crime scene tape still overshadows holiday decorations. So this is obviously very tragic. It's very heavy. He, for whatever reason, took and it was not an accidental shooting of the 6-year-old.
Right.
Like, she didn't get caught in the crossfire. We'll kind of reach it, but
it was on purpose.
He did it on purpose.
Yeah, he seems like he knew what he was doing, and he seems like a real sick fuck, if you ask me.
Yeah. So Sitton's daughter Michaela wrote on cards how thankful she was for her family and strung them on a clothesline as decoration for the Thanksgiving dinner. After dinner, she sang songs as part of the impromptu dress rehearsal for a performance of the Nutcracker she was to be in the next day. Sitton, a videographer for a local television station, said that he doesn't know who invited Marriage to his home, but he thought little of it when Marriage's father called to say Marriage was on his way and needed directions. Sitton said his wife's cousin was always on the fringe of the family and rarely seen at family gatherings. He had only met Marriage twice and hadn't seen him in more than a decade. So, I mean, weird, but like, I can't imagine on Thanksgiving my wife saying like, hey, my cousin we haven't seen in 10 years is coming by, and me being like, no, he's fucking not. You know, I think this guy said he felt a little weird about it, but what was he going to do? So Sitton and Marriage, Sitton said Marriage methodically picked off victims, shooting his twin sisters, Carla Marriage, a real estate agent, and Lisa Knight, who was pregnant. Like Michaela, they loved to sing. Marriage also sought his aunt, Raymond Joseph. Marriage's brother-in-law, Patrick Knight, was in critical but stable condition at a hospital Tuesday. Another man, Clifford Jabara, who was 52, was grazed by a bullet. And Sitton doesn't think Moraine planned to kill Michaela initially, but thinks he became jealous when he saw the family delight in her singing. Quote, he tried to snuff out the light. He came into my baby's room, he saw her innocence, and he walked in and purposefully killed her. Sitton said he dreaded returning to his home, but was comforted when he walked into his daughter's room Sunday, and beside her bed, he wept when he read for the first time a novel she had been writing about a squirrel. Michaela was a voracious reader who loved to sing, dance, and tell stories, and Jupiter police were looking in bodies of water near the home through the search. Though the base wasn't searched on any specific tip, Officer Sally Collins Ortiz said. So they're searching around to see if this brother had like killed himself in one of these bodies of water, if he had ditched a weapon, if he had...
Right.
Because they have no leads. He just...
got rid of evidence at all.
He killed her and he dipped. Killed 4 people, shot 6 in total. And so this little girl, she's like this huge reader and writer. At 6, she's started writing a novel about a squirrel. So she's pretty, she's definitely ahead of her game. So, investigators also alerted Michigan state authorities to be on the lookout for Marriage because a doctor in Detroit had treated him there months ago. Authorities do not have any clues what the doctor treated him for, but
I was just going to ask, what was he treated for?
Sitton called Marriage a monster, but said he didn't know if Marriage suffered from any mental illnesses. It sounds like a schizophrenic to me. Not to lend any excuses, but just the whole like becoming insanely jealous of a 6-year-old, and like he's
that sounds a bit more bipolar though, because schizophrenic would be, I mean, I not a doctor, but I would assume I always associate it with the multiple personalities, but I guess that'd be schizophrenic tendencies with multiple personality disorder.
Yeah, I don't know.
He
just seems like a real...
Where's Dr. Kendall?
Right. We should have reached out to Dr. Kendall. If only
somebody
I
tagged
found
Dr. Kendall
20
in this.
minutes ago. Dr. Kendall, we're going to need some help.
Paging Dr. Kendall.
Sitton called Marriage a monster, and he didn't know if he suffered from mental illness. Court documents showed Marriage and his siblings had a troubled history. Nearly a decade ago, Marriage sought protection from law enforcement after he accused his sister of trying to kill him. This is where he's going to start sounding paranoid, delusional, schizophrenic to me.
Right.
According to records obtained by the Miami Herald, he dropped his request a few weeks later. In 2006. Nope, sorry. Yep, that's how it's going. In 2006, Carla Marriage requested a restraining order against her brother, saying he threatened to kill her and himself. So he originally puts in a restraining order saying, she's trying to kill me. Drops it, and the sister puts in one saying, like, dude, he's saying he's going to kill me and then himself. So this is what's really fucking happening.
Yeah.
She would also withdraw her request just a few weeks after. Marriage was believed to be driving a Royal Blue 2007 Toyota Camry with a rear spoiler and a Florida license plate. Prosecutors issued an arrest warrant Saturday on 4 counts of first-degree murder and 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder. The word we're trying to get out to the public is an individual is considered armed and dangerous, said Detective Pasquarello. After the mass murder, Marriage went on the lam for weeks until January of 2010. So he was, from Thanksgiving to January, when a tip was called in after he was featured on an episode of America's Most Wanted.
They did good. They did such good work.
Yeah. And within 6 weeks, I mean, think about it. From Thanksgiving to January, within 6 weeks, he gets on TV and they fucking find him. So
I'm not even a wanted criminal, and I can't lay low for that long.
Yeah. Thank you, John Walsh. With thoughts of suicide weighing heavily on his mind, he had been laying low in the Florida Keys under an assumed name, living off $12,000 in cash he had withdrawn before Thanksgiving. The last detail further underlined how premeditated Marriage's crime had been. The Palm Beach police described him as an estranged recluse who'd clashed with his sisters in the past. One had even taken out a restraining order, which we just heard. In 2009, Thanksgiving, everything had seemed calm, at least on the surface. Court records show that the weeks before the meal, he had painstaking and discreetly spent $2,000 on at least 4 guns and multiple boxes of ammunition in 2 Broward County gun shops. He even asked for a scope to be attached to a bolt-action Remington 700 rifle. He said he wanted to use it for hunting. Marriage had been asking his parents for days about the Thanksgiving event, but never committed to attending, and his parents never alerted their hosts, Jim and Muriel Sitton, whose daughter was obviously lost in all of this, that he might be coming. When he called that evening to announce he was on his way, his mother couldn't resist a sinister thought. Quote, "I hope he doesn't come and kill us all tonight," Carol Marriage recalled telling her daughter, Lisa Knight, according to a Jupiter police report. Quote, "Mom, it came to my mind too," her daughter replied, "but don't say it to Dad because Dad would get upset that we had such ideas." So they're saying before he even got there, they were joking about him coming to kill them. In October 2011, Marriage pled guilty after making a deal that would spare him the death penalty, which they initially sought. He received 7 life terms instead. As you might expect, the case caused a huge rift in the family, both emotionally and legally. Marriage's brother-in-law, Patrick Knight, who lost his wife and was himself gravely wounded in the shooting, said he was eager to move on from the tragedy instead of enduring years of appeals. So this guy's like, dude, I'm over it. He's 7 life sentences. Like, took my wife, shot me too. I don't want to. I want to be a part of it anymore.
Go to fucking hell.
Right. But Michaela's grieving father, Jim Sitton, quote, begged the judge not to accept the deal, even falling to his knees in the courtroom. The Sittons also filed a lawsuit against Marriage's parents, alleging that they'd invited him to the gathering without warning the hosts that their son might be dangerous, according to NBC Miami. Quote, if someone brought a rattlesnake or a pit bull to your home without your permission, that pit bull started attacking and killing people, wouldn't you find that person responsible? Jim Sitton said. Quote, that's what this is. We're seeking justice with every means at our disposal. I kind of had the same thought you did right there. It's like, a pit bull and a rattlesnake are pets. This is a human who is not a pet.
Yeah, like you can reason with a person.
Right. So the lawsuit was eventually dismissed in 2012 after it was determined by the Marriages had no legal right or ability to control the action of their son. So there we go. That wasn't the only suit filed in the wake of the murders. Patrick Knight, the husband of the wife, had also sued his former in-laws for failing to prevent the killings, including the death of their daughter, his wife, Lisa. So this was during this is the guy who was done being passive. He also filed a civil suit against these people for it. The Marriages filed a countersuit against the Sittons in 2011, alleging the Sittons were to blame for the bloodbath. So, Jesus Christ.
Fucking...
to the extent that Paul had problems, the entire family knew that, said the Marriages attorney, Alan Rawson. If the Sittons were concerned he was going to be a problem that day, then they should have stopped them. So it's their fault because they didn't tell him that he couldn't come. It was their house.
Where's your home defense system?
Yep, the lawyer said, this is classic lawyer, I feel like. It was their house. They should have protected their family as well as the Marriage family if they were concerned. In the lawsuit, the Marriage family also claim Sitton has defamed them with unfair and untrue statements that the couple by saying that they invited Paul to dinner without notifying any members of the family about his reputation for violence. Also named in the lawsuit is Dr. Antoine Joseph, whose wife was murdered by Marriage. Joseph is Muriel Sitton's father. His sister is Carol Marriage. So, dude, this whole thing is just fucked, man. It's an incredibly tangled web of lawsuits within this family. But the tiny small spot in all of this is during the Marriage's trial, the Sittons announced that Muriel was pregnant with their second child. They're having a girl, but it's very bittersweet. There will always be someone missing, said Mrs. Sitton.
Yeah, that guy's a monster. He ruined a lot of lives that day.
I don't disagree with you. That's all I've got, man. I
hope he rots in hell, and I hope that shitty lawyer that the other family hired rots in hell with him.
Yeah, exactly. That's the Thanksgiving special, everybody. We appreciate you. We won't jump into all the ways you can find us because if you're listening to this episode, you already know. So
fuck it. Instagram, Facebook.
Reach out to us if you guys want. You know how to do it. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you guys out there. We love you. Greg, what you got for them?
Thanks to the people who hit me up on Instagram, and a couple of people found me on Snapchat. Yeah, you got to listen to the older episodes to hear that. But actually, no, you don't. It's Gurgla. It's just Hella Greg backwards. But I think it's funny. It's somebody I mean, so, props to the people who pay attention and get out there and want to have conversations about weird shit, because I do that. I'm down.
Yeah, Greg is down. So, we appreciate you guys, and we know that you're one of the best fan bases, if not the best fan base that exists. We may not be the biggest. I feel like we're just going to keep on growing, though, especially with some kick-ass fans like you guys.
Yeah, you guys rule. And I don't know, man. Just keep. What is it you always say? Keep talking to strangers.
Yeah, that one. Remember, keep talking to strangers.
or don't, whatever.